Washington, D.C., the heart of American politics and a beacon of democracy, is a city rich in history and significance. Its journey from a planned federal district to the bustling capital of the United States is a story of vision, resilience, and transformation. The foundation of Washington, D.C., was not just a decision of geography, but a statement of unity for a young nation seeking to establish its identity. Located along the banks of the Potomac River, the city's site was chosen as a compromise between the northern and southern states. It was a strategic and symbolic decision, reflecting the need for balance and centrality in a time of regional division. The origins of Washington, D.C., trace back to the Residence Act of 1790, a pivotal legislation that authorized the creation of a federal district. President George Washington, after whom the city was named, played an instrumental role in selecting the site. He envisioned a city that would serve not only as the seat of government, but also as a physical representation of the country's aspirations and values. Carved out from land donated by Maryland and Virginia, the federal district was designed to stand apart from any single state's influence, embodying the principle of neutrality and unity. The city's design was entrusted to Pierre-Charles L'Enfant, a French-born engineer who brought a grand vision to the project. Influenced by the majestic cities of Europe, L'Enfant proposed a layout that featured wide avenues radiating from key buildings, open public spaces, and monumental architecture. His design reflected democratic ideals, emphasizing accessibility and grandeur. However, the ambitious plan faced numerous challenges, including disputes over land, funding shortages, and L'Enfant's eventual dismissal from the project. Despite these setbacks, the core elements of his vision endured and continue to define the city's character. The early years of Washington, D.C., were marked by slow progress and growing pains. The swampy terrain and lack of infrastructure posed significant hurdles, and the city initially struggled to attract residents. Nevertheless, the construction of key government buildings, including the Capitol and the White House, began to establish Washington, D.C., as the nation's political hub. These structures were more than functional. They were symbolic, representing the ideals of a fledgling democracy striving to create a more perfect union. The story of Washington, D.C., as the capital of the United States, is rooted in the vision of a city that could unite a young and divided nation. The Residence Act of 1790, which established the federal district, was born out of a compromise between Alexander Hamilton and Thomas Jefferson. Hamilton sought federal assumption of state debts to stabilize the nation's finances, while Jefferson and his allies desired a capital situated in the South to balance regional power. The resulting agreement placed the capital along the Potomac River, a location that satisfied both parties and symbolized the union of North and South. President George Washington's role in shaping the city's future cannot be overstated. His personal oversight of the site selection process reflected his commitment to creating a capital that would reflect the nation's aspirations. Washington's vision for the city was ambitious. It was to be a place that embodied the ideals of democracy, equality, and progress. The federal district, known as the District of Columbia, was carved from land donated by Maryland and Virginia, reinforcing the collaborative spirit of the project. Pierre-Charles L'Enfant's design for Washington, D.C., was groundbreaking in its scope and ambition. Drawing inspiration from the grand capitals of Europe, L'Enfant envisioned a city with wide boulevards, intersecting avenues, and strategically placed public squares. His plan emphasized open spaces and monumental architecture, reflecting the democratic principles of transparency and accessibility. Central to his design were the Capitol building and the President's House, now the White House, which served as focal points of power and governance. Despite the brilliance of L'Enfant's vision, the execution of the plan faced significant challenges. Land disputes, funding shortages, and political disagreements slowed progress, and L'Enfant's uncompromising nature eventually led to his dismissal from the project. However, his design laid the foundation for the city's development, and subsequent planners adhered to many of his original concepts. The early development of Washington, D.C., was a testament to perseverance. The city's swampy terrain and lack of infrastructure made construction difficult, and its initial population was small. However, the completion of key buildings like the Capitol and the White House marked significant milestones, solidifying Washington, D.C. as the center of American governance. Over time, the city began to grow, attracting residents and businesses that contributed to its development as a vibrant capital. By the early 19th century, Washington, D.C. had established itself as the political heart of the nation. The construction of iconic landmarks, the establishment of government institutions, and the city's role in shaping the nation's history underscored its importance. Despite the challenges of its early years, Washington, D.C. emerged as a symbol of the American experiment, a city that reflected the ideals of democracy and the promise of a brighter future. Washington, D.C. has been the stage for some of the most pivotal moments in American history, often serving as the epicenter of events that have shaped the nation's destiny. One of the earliest and most defining challenges came during the War of 1812, when British forces invaded the young capital. In 1814, the British set fire to numerous key buildings, including the White House and the Capitol. This act of destruction was a humbling moment for the fledgling nation, exposing its vulnerabilities, but also igniting a resolve to rebuild stronger than before. The reconstruction of these iconic structures symbolized resilience and determination, setting the stage for Washington, D.C. to become a permanent fixture of American identity. As the city entered the mid-19th century, it played a crucial role during the Civil War. Located close to the Confederate States, Washington, D.C. was a hub of Union activity and strategy. The city became a symbol of hope and liberation when, in 1862, President Abraham Lincoln signed the District of Columbia Compensated Emancipation Act, freeing enslaved individuals in the district. This action, which preceded the Emancipation Proclamation, underscored Washington's role in advancing the cause of freedom and equality. The 20th century brought about seismic changes, with Washington, D.C. emerging as a focal point for social and political movements. During the Civil Rights Movement, the city became synonymous with the fight for equality and justice. On August 28, 1963, the National Mall witnessed one of the largest gatherings in American history, the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. Over 150,000 people congregated to demand civil rights and economic justice, culminating in Martin Luther King Jr.'s iconic "I Have a Dream" speech delivered from the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. This moment not only solidified Washington, D.C. as a symbol of the nation's moral conscience, but also as a stage where change could be realized. Beyond its political milestones, Washington's architectural and cultural landmarks have cemented its place in history. The Washington Monument, towering over the National Mall, serves as a tribute to the nation's first president. The Lincoln Memorial, with its grand columns and solemn interior, stands as a beacon of unity and justice. Meanwhile, the Vietnam Veterans Memorial's simple yet powerful design honors those who sacrificed their lives, offering a space for reflection and remembrance. Together, these landmarks weave a narrative of struggle, leadership, and the enduring values that define the United States. Modern Washington, D.C. is a city that seamlessly blends its storied past with vibrant contemporary life. As the seat of the federal government, it remains a hub of political power, hosting institutions like the Capitol, the White House, and the Supreme Court. These buildings are not just administrative centers, but symbols of governance and democracy, attracting millions of visitors annually who come to witness the machinery of government in action. However, Washington, D.C. is much more than its political identity. The city is home to the Smithsonian Institution, an unparalleled cultural treasure trove often referred to as the nation's attic. With 21 museums, galleries, and a zoo, the Smithsonian offers a window into America's rich history, scientific achievements, and artistic expressions. Iconic establishments like the National Air and Space Museum and the National Museum of African American History and Culture draw millions of visitors annually. showcasing everything from groundbreaking technological advancements to the stories of resilience and creativity that define the American experience. The neighborhoods of Washington, D.C. each tell a unique story, contributing to the city's diverse cultural tapestry. Georgetown, with its cobblestone streets and historic charm, offers a glimpse into the city's early days. Adams Morgan buzzes with eclectic energy, boasting a mix of international cuisines, vibrant nightlife, and cultural festivals. The U Street corridor, once the heartbeat of DC's jazz scene, continues to celebrate its musical heritage while embracing modern artistic expressions. Washington's culinary scene has also seen a renaissance, earning the city a reputation as a gastronomic destination. From Michelin-starred restaurants to food trucks serving global flavors, the city caters to every palate. Local favorites like half-smokes and Maryland crab cakes sit alongside innovative fusion dishes, reflecting the diverse influences that shape DC's identity. Economically, Washington, D.C. thrives as a global capital. Beyond its government institutions, the city hosts international organizations, think tanks, and cultural institutions, attracting professionals from around the world. Events like the National Cherry Blossom Festival not only celebrate the city's beauty, but also boost tourism, drawing millions of visitors each year. This influx of talent and tourism contributes to the city's dynamic, ever-evolving character. Yet, Washington, D.C. is also a city of contrasts. While it is home to powerful institutions and affluent neighborhoods, it grapples with challenges such as housing inequality and gentrification. Efforts are ongoing to address these issues, ensuring that the city's growth remains inclusive and sustainable. Washington, D.C. is not just a city, it is a living monument to the ideals, struggles, and aspirations that have shaped the United States. Its history is etched into every corner, from the marble steps of the Supreme Court to the quiet reflection pools of the National Mall. As visitors walk these storied grounds, they are reminded of the sacrifices and triumphs that define the American journey. The city's resilience is perhaps its most defining characteristic. From the ashes of the War of 1812 to the transformative movements of the 20th century, Washington, D.C. has consistently risen to meet the challenges of its time. Its landmarks serve as reminders of the values that underpin the nation: democracy, freedom, and justice. The Capitol's dome, illuminated at night, stands as a beacon of hope and progress, while the Lincoln Memorial's solemn presence invites reflection on the enduring struggle for equality. Today, Washington, D.C. continues to inspire, educate, and evolve. It is a city where history is not just preserved but actively lived. Residents and visitors alike engage with its past while contributing to its vibrant present. The city's museums and cultural institutions serve as gateways to understanding the complexities of the American experience, while its neighborhoods offer a glimpse into the diverse communities that call D.C. home. As we look to the future, Washington, D.C. remains a symbol of possibility and progress. Its story is far from finished, and each new chapter adds depth to its rich narrative. Whether it's through groundbreaking legislation, cultural innovation, or acts of individual courage, the city continues to shape and be shaped by the people who inhabit it. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Washington, D.C.'s history and legacy. We hope you leave with a deeper appreciation for this remarkable city and the stories it holds. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more explorations into the world's most fascinating places.